What immediate challenges did you have as an individual when we did it? Now, we've talked about some of the hardware, software, and connectivity issues. We've also your personal readiness to deliver online training. And John, you've kind of addressed some of that in the sense that um, you were considering the fact that they could hear every word you said again and again and
Yeah.
again.
Well, I think what I wasn't prepared for was the personal impact on delivering online training with no direct neuroceptive feedback, if you like, and that does continue to be a challenge because if you're delivering face-to-face training, you've got that ongoing assessment of the impact or the effectiveness of your delivery in real time. And so what you almost have to do when you're delivering online, like in this kind of format, is ask for that feedback directly.
Totally. And build it into the sessions.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
there's that. There's the impact on your personal time. So because they've got that conduit to you through chats and posts, so you've got to have that. You have to think about your personal space in delivery of that training. Now, to some extent, the software lets you do that because you can select your own background. But at the same time, you are inviting people into your personal space. And when we're not TV presenters, we're not media trained in that sense, and it's very disconcerting to speak to a screen rather than a group of people if that's what you're used to.
Yes.
And also, and this is where it's a time issue. You've got to be very aware, I think, that where you are recording sessions, that your choice of words is vital.
Yeah.
So using that coaching model, being aware that we're giving information and not advice is really crucial, because you can get sucked into an advice giving session if you're not careful.
Yes.
And so
absolutely.
there's personal impact in delivery of this kind of training. I mean, the good news is the more you do it, the more familiar you become with the easier it is. And you're also then having to keep on top of the technology because it's constantly evolving and changing. And you're having to assess, is that useful, is it not? How do I share that with the people so we can use that as part of our sessions going forward? Like the hands up, for example.
Yes, absolutely. Laura.
I'd agree with John. I think what was really helpful is that John and I had each other to talk to about this. So I kind of went first with it and practiced it with John, and he helped me and said, yeah, this is fine, maybe try this. And then a week later he called me and go, oh, I'm really anxious about this now as well. So I don't know if it'd be worth coaches having like a buddy system or something, just someone who they can run through like a few slides or an audio or something like that to check it, because that really helped reassure us.
Yeah, because we were doing it live for the first time, weren't we? And without the opportunity to practice it. And I think as a coach, you need to have some time to practice this with a trusted colleague.
Yeah.
Agree.
And what also helped was having everyone's videos to start off with, and just I know that the sort of the all background and that personal space is kind of a barrier, but we kind of made it into a way to connect. So we just had conversations with people for the first few minutes of every session, just going, oh, you've got a toddler in the background, how's that going? Building up those relationships, because we were training people we'd never met before. And so it was really important to have 5 minutes at the beginning, and then also I set a bit of a contract at the start as well. And I said, please feel free. If we're working in really different times, if your phone rings, if the doorbell goes, if a child needs to have a drink, please just dip off and do it, because this isn't a normal working environment. And so I set that right at the beginning. And I also just talked about well-being, looking after themselves during the call, and those kind of things as well. So I think it's important to have that conversation and acknowledge we're all working in a really different way, and there's going to be allowances for that.
Absolutely.
And what I discovered as well is, and I've built this into all of my sessions now, is at the end when we've completed the session, I invite everyone to turn their cameras on so we actually can wave at each other and see each other. And because, as Laura quite rightly says, these are people we haven't met before, and I'm very keen that we build relationships, and you can't do that with a blank screen.
No. Chris Lavoie. Yes, you got your hand up.
Hi. I just wondered, when you were talking about the difference between the practical training in a room and this, when you're in a room and you sometimes get that negative or obstructless or wants to take all the time up, etc., that person, you can manage that when you're in a room with body language, where you stand, all those things that you would use as a trainer. Did you experience that while you were doing this, and were there any techniques that helped? Because you can't do that when you're online, can you?
You could mute them, can't you?
You can mute everybody. I mean, I think it's you develop protocols for how the session is going to run. So, for example, you can say, right, I'm going to mute everyone now while I go through this PowerPoint, and there will be points at which I'd like your feedback. So you stop, you're very explicit about that, and people can use hands up. They can use the conversation part of Microsoft Teams to write their comments there and build in time to come back to that. But what you have to be very aware of as a trainer is, okay, how do I stop screen sharing? Has that stopped recording? Now I need to look at the comment. You know, you have to have duality. It's you have to be quite nimble in doing it. But in that way, you can manage the people and manage the flow.
I think you can manage it pretty much how you would normally, in terms of just saying, it's lovely to hear so much from you. I can hear how excited you are. I just want to make sure everyone's had their turn, you know, to contribute. How about we hear from John now? And that was generally received okay. And then if people were having technical difficulties and kept saying, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I would just say, right, just hang on till the end of the call and we'll have a one-to-one, and I'd pick it up that way. So yeah, I think generally you can generally handle it in the same kind of way. I haven't had anyone being obstructive though, or particularly difficult, touch wood.
No, I haven't either, which is good.